But that's no longer the case. You want to now reach out, engage your customers directly, your partners directly, to integrate with those systems. The old ERP systems and your traditional technology was designed really for working inside the house. And they were not designed for this cloud environment or for web services and those kind of things. What we're primarily seeing is not grabbing the existing applications and moving them to the cloud, although that does happen in some cases and is necessary in some cases. But in many cases, we're leaving the systems there and we're writing new applications that bridge across from, so this is technically the hybrid cloud environment where you've got an application which is reaching outside of the company to partners or prospective clients or whatever, and then also bridging back into your internal system to pick up the data and do the manipulation. And that's really where this web service, SOA-oriented Cordys platform is really out there.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah, just what you said, Keith. One of the analysts has just published a report, and they talk about systems of engagement versus systems of record. So these old legacy ERPs that I grew up with, many of us, were so familiar with, and that's the paradigm. We had to work with bad software, so we got used to it. Right? But there's a whole new generation out there that's not used to it. I was talking at the table at lunch with somebody about my 29-year-old daughter who went out. She's a chiropractor. She created her own website in an afternoon. She got herself set up on Square to process credit cards in her office in an hour. Now she just embraces this technology like it's nothing. And the idea that the systems of engagement are the things that are going to tap that customer network, that ecosystem outside the walls, and we can leverage the internal systems of what they're good at. That's where we're starting to see that real traction too in the world.
Yeah, so there is a transformation that's going on in the marketplace. As I said, there's this new generation that's coming in and saying, we're not going to put up with that old stuff that gets in the way of us getting our jobs done. There's also, of course, the competitive environment. You've got to get better, or else, as a customer advocate, you're going to lose your customers because their expectations are going up, and there's plenty of choices out there, right? And it seems to me that business process is something. We're talking about business process outsourcing, or I'm sorry, not only outsourcing, but re-engineering. Business process re-engineering for almost 30 years now, and there wasn't a whole lot of good re-engineering going on. We were paving the old cow paths. So we have this new tool. What is the process as a consultant or an engineer? And we've heard your story, John, and we're going to come back to it in a moment. But I want to hear from these guys as they're approaching an engagement. What's the process you use? When the customer says, we want to change a process, what's your process for saying, okay, let's talk about how we can move forward to achieve that objective? What do you do? And how does the software play into that?
Well, yeah, this is all about process discovery. And it's worth noting that the old style process discovery is you go around and interview everybody, and you ask people what happens. And the surprising thing is most people don't really know what happens. Maybe they know what they do, or they know what the person before them or after them in the process did, or get this, they know what they think they should be doing, which may not be what they're doing. But, and they'll think about all the sort of the normal cases, they won't think about the exceptional cases.
And there may be another scenario, they may know what they do, but they have no idea why they do it. Right?
Well, yes, that's another possibility. So we actually use a data mining technique. Well, process mining is a really interesting field where you can go in and these systems of record that Tom's talking about, they have a lot of records in there. And you can go look at that. You can mine that process information out and get a picture of it, draw it out. And the interesting thing about that is that there's no ego in that. There's no, here's what I think I should be doing. It's just a picture of what you actually do, good or bad. And it puts everybody on the same side of the table. Then when you see that picture, everybody says, oh, I could improve this, I could improve this. But you're all on the same side now. You're working together to make the process better. You then work with a tool like Cordys. You draw the picture in there, maybe better than it was, and then you use that graphical notation to reflect with the other people. You use that as a change agent to get the organization around that.
So it becomes a data-driven process.
Model
problem.
Right, so the data, data gives you the model drives the application.
So Don, give us another example of how that has worked maybe in another customer engagement.
Yeah, well, I think, what we see is that a lot of times we walk into the customers, if they're doing an evaluation, looking at a platform like Cordys, they've got some kind of a pain that's driving them already. But what's been interesting in the last year or so is so many people are now, like the folks here in this room, thinking about, well, how does the cloud impact this? Do I do another on-premise system, or I just go out and I automate and I maybe, migrate some of my stuff up to a new level? What do I do with that? What we're seeing now is people actually starting to think about leapfrogging that. And when we get into those discussions, Glenn Donovan, who's out here in the middle of the room, oversees a lot of the cloud